Hey, Cody, thanks for taking some time to talk to current students and potential students. Cody is a Ranken graduate from 2022, so I'm really excited to talk to you and ask you some questions because you are the most recent graduate, graduating class, and you're out in the workforce. So thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Mr. G. I really enjoy doing interviews like this. They're kind of fun, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
cool. So where'd you wind up after Ranken?
So I am currently working still in the St. Louis area for a company called GDS. I worked there as an intern while I was going to school, and once I had graduated, they offered me a full-time position as a junior software developer. So that was the first
Nice.
job that I landed outside of Rankin.
So you started as an intern. What semester, just out of curiosity, did you start the internship with?
So it was the tail end of my third semester. So the bulk of my internship was during my fourth semester.
Okay, cool. And now you're full time at GDS, and are they located in St. Louis? I'm assuming.
Yes, so they are out of the Webster Groves area. They have an office there. A lot of my fellow employees, we all work hybrid schedules, which means that we work part of our time from home and then we commute for the other part during the week
Okay,
to
about
the
how many
main
days at
office.
home versus in the office?
So they're it's kind of that's up to the employee. They kind of let you base it on your needs and your schedule. For me, I currently work 3 days from home, two in the office,
Okay.
and obviously they've been really flexible too. I currently am expecting my third child, so they've been really understanding and kind of flexible for doctor's visits and stuff like that. So that's been really nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I had this updated news.
Yep, yep. I think any day now. She just hit, I think, 38 weeks. So we'll be
Nice.
welcoming our third child into the world. So I'm very excited.
Awesome. Congratulations. Hey, also want to compliment you on the setup here. Very cool, backdrop you got. I see the Rankin diploma kind of in the background with some figurines.
Yep. I'm a big like tech nerd, and I love anime, all that stuff. So I kind of like decorating my home office with things that I think represent who I am as a person and some of my accomplishments. So if you could see the rest of my room, it's more of the same, just decked out with things that you know fit me as a person.
Does the webcam, does it detach and you can do a pan of the room, or is this not a thing we can do?
I don't think it would kind of I'd be a little rough because it's all wired into my computer right
No
now.
problem. No problem. That's all good. So you graduated from Rankin. Application and web development was your major, and so you learned a bunch of coding languages. And so, are you using any of those?
Yes. So I guess the job that I do particularly, there's two sides of it. There is the administration side of it, which is I'm handling tickets and any issues that may arise for our customers within their NetSuite software, which is for those who don't know, NetSuite is a form of SaaS, a software as a service that we help manage and develop within for our customers. Um, and so there's that side of my job. And then the other side is the development side where companies will want customizations or NetSuite to do things that it doesn't do out of the box. And then they hire us to develop some of that functionality and customization for them.
And so, what languages does that involve?
So I particularly work with JavaScript. That is the main language, but you can also use, I believe, C Sharp. I think just kind of most people develop with JavaScript. Now we do have a mobile app that my company develops for our field service that we sell. It's kind of a add-on to NetSuite, and that we develop in React Native, which I don't
Nice.
do too much on that side of things yet, but there has been kind of talk to potentially down the road move me to more of the mobile side to kind of assist with some of the senior developers and the mobile app space. So.
And you did study JavaScript and React while you were a
Mhm.
student, so you seem like that might be a good fit.
Yeah, no, I definitely think kind of what I've learned at Rankin was it definitely gave me the footing for what I needed to learn next once I moved to the professional setting. Because obviously, in the tech space, you continue to grow your knowledge and learn. And so I think having a strong core foundation within, JavaScript, C Sharp, and all those languages will really set you up nicely for continuing that education and continuing learning as you move forward in your professional career.
Yeah, never-ending learning, right? If there's one rule of development, right? The golden rule: you're never done learning.
Right.
So
right.
that's cool. You came to Ranken and you chose this development track, and why? I mean, what interests you about this space, or how'd you wind up picking it?
Yeah, so I think my path was maybe a little different than some students. Obviously, I'm a little bit older than I would think maybe most of the students coming into Ranken.
How old are you?
So I'm a couple weeks from turning 28. I'll be 28 this year.
Okay. So you were mid-20s coming through Ranken.
Yes. So I was mid-20s with 2 children coming into Ranken. So it was kind of scary. It was a big leap for me to start the beginning of my journey with Ranken. But I think what was kind of the deciding factors for me was I was working in a career that I wasn't the most satisfied in. I wasn't very happy with what I was doing. I've always kind of had a passion for technology, computers, and things of that nature. And so kind of when COVID had struck, I kind of had decided that, I wanted a major change, and this might be, maybe the kick in the pants I needed to, start that change. And so I started looking into different schools that had offered programs like this, because I knew a 4-year degree probably wasn't in the cards for me, just given the situation that I was in with, children and, mortgages, car payments, all that stuff. So I knew I needed to get something where I could go in quickly and get out just as quickly, so that way I could get right back to working and making money for myself and my family.
Yeah.
So I enrolled. I came to Ranken, and that's kind of how it all started. Was I think an unhappiness with the way that my life was going and the direction that it was heading. I think was probably the biggest factor for me.
So COVID kind of hit, and you wanted it was just like, hey, I'm ready to try something different.
Correct. Yeah.
So you kind of talked about the different sides of the job. I mean, is there anything that you worked on in your job that you really enjoyed, like a project that stands out, or sometimes, I mean, things can just be, you're just building business software, and that's one thing, but sometimes you can work on, and it doesn't have to be part of the job either. Have you worked on side projects or anything that just kind of cool, kind of different?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit different, because a lot of the stuff I work on is very like particular to certain customers. I think like the big moment for me where I got really excited was when I started handling my own customers and had my own clients.
Yeah.
So in a typical work week, I'll have a few different projects that I'll be working on for clients that are specifically assigned to me. The clients I meet with on a weekly basis to discuss updates, to discuss any future changes that they'd like. And so I think that was kind of like the big excitement with the career was, it's like, oh, I get my own clients. Like, these are people that I'm specifically developing for and fixing their issues. And so I think, maybe there isn't like one particular project that was it for me. I think it was when I got the responsibility of having my own clients.
Yeah, it's a great way to answer that question. It's a great answer. So what's a day in your work life like? I mean, what time do you clock in? What time do you clock out? What do you do?
So I usually start my day at 9. I work from 9 to 5. Now, sometimes there might be some variations in that, but we do have a few customers who are overseas, so so their time zones are a little bit different. So there are some occasions where I might start later, just because those meetings we might have pretty late into the evening. But typically my days are from 9 to 5. And I'll start out usually by just kind of jumping into whatever projects I have laid out for the week. Usually I kind of know what I'm supposed to be working on because I work pretty closely with a lot of our project managers who kind of keep everything in different Excel sheets for different projects that we have going at any given time. So I'll jump on those until about noon. Around noon, we usually have our daily scrum calls where we kind of talk about status that we're making, any issues that we might have, and seek assistance from any of the other developers who may have some insight on any issues that you may arise. And I will say that's one thing I really did like about GDS. It's a very friendly environment. The developers are very apt to share their knowledge and help with any issues that you may run into. And so that was like when I was looking for jobs, I had multiple jobs lined up, but one of the deciding factors for why I ended up where I'm at was they were very big on making sure I was growing as a developer, and that was really important to me for my first job because your first years of work are you're going to be absorbing a lot of knowledge, and when you have people willing to teach you, it's very easy to keep learning and absorb that knowledge. But so I'll have those scrum calls. I'll have any questions answered at that time, and then I'll go back to kind of developing. And then usually in the afternoon, I usually have my meetings with customers or clients, and so we'll do those meetings. Usually last for about an hour, and then from there, if I still have any remaining time of the day, I kind of finish up with any tickets or projects that I'm working on.
So if you had to try and guess the breakdown of how much time you spend in development versus all the other stuff, meetings and discussions and emails, what would be the percentage?
So I think throughout the week, probably 25 to 30% of my time is in meetings for the whole week. Tuesdays and Wednesdays and I think Fridays are my most heavy days with meetings.
Yeah.
But then, a big chunk of my time is actually working on tickets, tasks, whatever, is on my to-do list of jobs that need to be carried out for the week.
So roughly 25% versus 75% in development. Mm-hmm. Nice. So you just graduated. I remember having you as a student, and you always were, a great student, frankly. And so, you graduated presumably with some good grades. And so my question is, what advice would you give to current or future students to be successful at Ranken?
Yeah, of course. So, this is probably, the most important part of this whole interview because this is what's going to matter to, the people looking to either join Ranken or looking to go get a job. So my advice would be never be afraid to put yourself out there. Part of the interview process is learning from each interview and, taking that to do the next interview, even better than the one before. And so, taking those chances, jumping at every opportunity, even if it doesn't pan out, there's something to be learned from each and every one of those. And I think that is probably the best advice I could give, anyone looking to, join this profession or, find a job out in the world.
Cool. Good tip. And, thinking about Ranken's curriculum, you kind of touched on this. It sounded like the JavaScript has worked out well for you. So what worked well about our curriculum? Like, was there anything in particularly that was like, hey, I use this every day? And then what didn't work out well? In other words, hey, I learned this at Ranken and I personally haven't touched it.
Yeah, so I think the JavaScript would obviously be probably the thing that I use the most, but I try to stay up on all of the languages that we've learned, with the C#, the React, because, you never know what the future is going to hold. And so that being said, I don't know in 6 months, like if I'm still going to be using JavaScript, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
I might have to move or, the economy can take a downturn. And so I think keeping yourself prepared for those situations is the important thing. So even if like I may not be currently using it in my current job, I am definitely keeping up with a lot of the skills that I've learned from Ranken, even if they don't necessarily pertain to what I'm currently doing.
Got it. Got it. Kind of coming into Ranken, you were telling, you wanted to change in direction and what your career was. Um, you probably had some sort of expectations about, salary and um, I'm not going to ask you your salary, but I guess from what you've seen from your classmates, if you could set expectations of a potential student like around salary, what would be a reasonable kind of expectation to have?
Yeah, I think it all depends on, how hungry you are, if that makes sense. Because obviously, if you take a ton of interviews, and you're constantly putting yourself out there, you have things to show to these potential employers, that just raises your potential earnings, by so much. Because, if you take one interview, like that's your only offer. But, if you're taking multiple interviews, and you're constantly trying to find opportunities, you set yourself up to, in my opinion, I've seen on the low end, 40 to 45, and the high end, anywhere from 60, and it all depends on the person. Because, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a lot of responsibility, make a lot of money, and those are the jobs that you're interviewing for, that is probably what you're going to be able to find. If you're looking for a smaller company where you can learn and grow, you might make a little less money, but you might get a lot more opportunity to grow.
Yep.
And so I definitely think there's money to be made in this industry. I think it comes down to how much work you're willing to put in, because getting the diploma and the degree, that's only step one. There's steps after that you need to follow through on if you really want to land that dream job and be making the money that you want to make after Ranken. And
Yeah.
like I said, it all comes down to how much work you're willing to put in and how hungry you are to prove that you're someone that these companies should hire.
So by the way, this interview was by request. Some current students say, "Oh, we got to interview Cody." So they kind of name dropped you, and we as a class were one day watching one of your projects on YouTube. You made a YouTube video, and the bug tracker, if you remember that, I'm sure you do.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so now we have students again doing the bug tracker, and so my question is, when we start that project, you might remember there was a YouTube video. There's like, this is why this is the perfect project. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And so in that video, they're like, look, you do this project, build a portfolio, and then use that in the interview. So my question is, were you able to use any projects, any portfolio projects during any of your interviews?
Yeah. Actually, I did have some employees, because like when I was sending out my portfolio, I had also attached some of the videos that I had done for school, and so some of them had actually given feedback on the project, and so it was definitely having things to attach my name to was definitely helpful, because then I'm taking it from just giving them my word on things to them seeing something physical that I have created and built with my time at Ranken. And so I definitely think the projects and having the videos were a huge help, and definitely gave me, I think, a leg up, because you're going to be competing with all sorts of people, but at the end of the day, what employers really want to know is that you can do what you say you can do. That's why a lot of employers will have, tests, or, just like, small problems for you to solve for the interview process. And, I think having a project that you can show them that you built is just, it just gives you that big of a leg up versus everyone else that's also looking to try to land that job.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. So, just want to say congratulations again. I'm super happy for you. You found your way into a good job in a good industry, and you've launched a career, and that's awesome. And just want to say congrats.
Yeah, I'd like to also, thank you and all the Ranken staff, because there was definitely times, where school was hard, especially, with my situation. there was times where like you just want to give up, you want to quit. And you know, if anyone else is going through that, all I can say is stick it out, keep working hard. You know, if you need assistance, you know, the Ranken staff is some of the best staff that I've ever dealt with. And you know, I can speak personally, Mr. G has definitely helped me when I was in some low points getting through the program, you know. And so, you know, work hard, you guys can make it. It's it'll pay off in the end, you know. And yeah, I couldn't be more thankful to Ranken and everything they've done for me.
Hey, you earned it, man. Congratulations. And thank you. Yeah, thank you. So congrats. All right, man. Well, I don't have a sign off. Do you have a sign off?
Not really.
All right, we'll go ahead and end it. All right, thanks.
I mean, I could add make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, you know,
Hey,
follow for the video. Maybe leave a comment down below.